Hey, difference maker. You've probably heard before that your success is dependent on 20% action and 80% psychology, your mindset. And I think that's actually really true, but we can't ignore the action. It's 20%. So we all know we do need to take action toward our dreams and living the life that we want to be living. We have to take steps in that direction. We could have an amazing mindset, have our psychology on point, be as happy and inspired as can be. But if we're not actually taking steps and actions toward our dreams, then we're not going to get there. We also know that action creates clarity, action helps build confidence. All that said, there are two distinct types of action, and they could not be more different from each other. The first type of action that I want to talk about is hard work. I used to be a huge believer in the hard work. I wore it like a badge of honor. The number of hours I would put in, the lack of sleep, the endless travel meetings. And I think in our society, we reward hard work. And I'm talking about like that hard work, hustle, struggle, push the boulder uphill, make sure you're working harder than the guy next to you. It's a whole lot of doing, it's a whole lot of action, but it's from the standpoint of just gotta keep going, gotta keep doing more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And it's not that that doesn't get anything done. I mean, clearly, we live in a world where lots of things get done all the time. Lots of things get built, lots of things get achieved. And so, does hard work work? Yeah. And honestly, if that's the type of action that speaks to you, that calls your name, that makes you feel like you're living your most joy-filled life, then by all means. But chances are, if you're here with me, and I'm all about the inspired life, there may be a bit of a nudge that says to you, does it have to be that way? Because I can tell you from my personal experience in the corporate world, I mean, I was working at least 70 plus hours a week. I was traveling almost every weekend. I'm in my late 30s. And I was just continue to push myself. And every once in a while, I would get sick because wasn't taking great care of myself because it was all about putting in the hard work. And I got kudos for putting in the hard work. I got pats on the back. I got rewarded. I got bonuses. So I kept doing the hard work. And before I knew it, in my late 30s, not 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, in my 30s, I landed in the Minnesota Heart Clinic. And I had an arrhythmia that was stress induced. So I had to take a step back and take a bigger look at my life and how I was living it and how I was pushing myself in the direction of hard work to get things done. Not only because it was the only way I knew, but to be honest, I liked the badge of honor. I for some reason, the response I would get from people when they learned or saw and witnessed how hard I worked, I was like, yes, like, that's one for Kimberly. And so when I landed in the heart clinic and I spent a couple of days wearing a Holter monitor so they could, monitor everything. And then they sat and had a long talk with me. And the heart doctor was like, you're in your 30s. Like, I get that you love your work and you feel blessed to get to do what you do, but you've got to find some balance and self-care in here and maybe another way to approach your work. So that sent me on a journey because I figured, you know what, maybe there is another way. Maybe there is another way to get done what I need to get done, to be able to make a difference in the world without, oh, I don't know, like killing myself from the stress of it all in the process. What's the point in that? And what kind of example, quite honestly, are we setting as a role model for others when we get the job done that way? So let me tell you about the other kind of action, just in case it might speak to you the way it spoke to me. That is inspired action. This is the action that comes from taking great care of yourself and being in alignment with who you are, with what you know you're here to do. And really importantly, part of that alignment for me is always staying connected to my why. Always staying connected to my why, because in the real world, it still stands to reason that 100% of what we need to do isn't always going to be the thing that we love to do. There are going to be tasks and things that need to get done that aren't our favorite thing. And that's okay, Because when you can take a step back and then get realigned with your why, with who you're here to serve, with how you're here to serve them, with the leader that you want to be, then you can just come at it from a different approach. You can come at it from the approach of feeling inspired to do it because you're connected to your why, as opposed to got to get it done, push, 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 go, 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 get that boulder uphill. And I tell you, it's made all the difference in the world for me, because I have not gone through burnout or had health issues related to the stress of the hard work in many, many years. And I feel incredibly blessed and privileged to be able to live a life where I can say that now. But it took me time, and it took a very strong intention, because it's easy to fall into the habit of, work, work, work. But I've also learned that there is something called the law of reversed effort. And that is the law. If you've ever experienced this, you're going to know what I'm talking about. It's when you want something, either you want to get something done or you want to achieve something, or, there's just something that you want, and you work at it, you work at it, you work at it, and it just feels like you're not getting any closer. It feels like it's just not going to happen. Well, the law of reversed effort teaches that sometimes the harder we work to achieve something, the less likely we are to achieve it, because we're putting so much focus in the doing and not enough focus in the being and aligning with who we are and what our why is and what inspires us, that we lose track, and we kind of fall off the right path toward what it is that we really want. So inspired action has really become the way for me. And I really encourage you, if that speaks to you, if that resonates within you, to take a step back and really think about what that can look like in your life. Because what's interesting, speaking of what it looks like, is from the outside to other people, it looks the same. Hard work, inspired action, it's still just you getting a bunch of stuff done. It's you, out there doing your good work, doing the things that need to get done. And so to this day, people will, see my schedule or see me here, see me there, and they're like, oh my gosh, you work so hard. I'm like, no, actually, no. I'm putting my good work in the world, yes, but it's so inspired. The action toward it is inspired. What I found when I was in that hard work mode, and that was my badge of honor, right? It drained me. But when I'm focused on doing the good work of my heart that I know I came here to do, and it's inspired, it fuels me. It just fuels me to do more. So I encourage you to let that sink in. And again, if it resonates, take a step back and see what that could look like for you. How could you, take some steps back, ensure that you are aligned with what's important to you, with your why for doing what you're doing, and then move forward again, doing what needs to be done from an inspired place, as opposed to a place of checking a box because I got to get it done. Okay. So those are your two forms of action: hard work and inspired action. I've done both. And I can just tell you, for me, inspired action is where it is at, because I get just as much done, but I haven't had any other visits to any other heart clinics, and that is really good news. So just know that whatever you choose, one's not better than the other. It's just there's going to be one that's better for you, just like I found one was better for me. So I just want you to be aware of the two paths you have here, the two options that you have here, and just know whichever one you choose, I am in your corner, I am rooting you on, and I am always sending you so much love. Take care, Difference Maker.